Guys, let's get straight into this. This is a terrific story on the front page of The Australian, and it's sort of a bit of a portent, I guess, to some of the unrest that's developed within the National Party in the last 72 hours after Barnaby Joyce lost the opportunity to take over as Nat's leader. Joyce warns PM. Nats to cross floor. Ginger Group angry over new ministry, and former Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce has warned Scott Morrison that the failure to put any of his supporters into the ministry has created a Nationals rebel group in the House of Representatives capable of blocking coalition legislation. David Crisafulli, that is a bombshell.
It is a bombshell, Gleeson, and I've always rated Barnaby as truly one of the authentic great communicators, great connectors, but I'm starting to question some political judgment on this one. Now, I'll explain why. Why would you threaten something like that so early after losing a vote? It's almost like threatening to punish someone just after it's occurred. Wouldn't there be more credibility? You wait a few months and then that occurs. I don't really understand the thought process behind it. I understand he's hurting. I understand he wants more. I get all of that, but I'm not quite convinced threatening to cross the floor before anything has actually happened is a good move in politics.
All right, the Prime Minister has unveiled his new ministry after the resignations of Bridget McKenzie and Matt Canavan. It comes as the Nationals leader faces internal pushback over plans to make it harder to mount a leadership challenge.
There's some new faces in the Morrison cabinet. Veterans Affairs Minister Darren Chester joining the cabinet, the first time since 1993 that portfolio has been brought in from the outer ministry.
And I think that sends a strong message about our commitment to veterans in this government.
New Deputy Nationals leader David Littleproud replaces his predecessor Bridget McKenzie as Agriculture Minister and keeps his responsibilities for the drought and emergency management.
He's had experience at this before.
Queenslander Keith Pitt parachuted from the backbench straight into Cabinet, replacing Matt Canavan as Resources Minister. He also takes water resources from Mr Littleproud.
I know how passionate he is about regional Australia.
Mr Pitt developed a reputation as an outspoken backbencher, proudly proposing new coal-fired power plants and nuclear power. The Prime Minister, though, says his appointment doesn't reflect any change to Australia's nuclear ban.
The policy on nuclear is very clearly set.
While Mr McCormick's leadership backers have been rewarded, Darren Chester insists
there is no way that any deal has been done. Michael McCormack doesn't work like that.
But his supporters have been looking to shore up his leadership, proposing rules similar to those governing the Labor and Liberal Party rooms. The change would require 2/3 of the party room support before a leadership challenge can be triggered. On Wednesday, Mr McCormick backed the plan.
And I think what it'll put an end to is the media having that opportunity to sometimes stir up the hornet's nest.
But after internal pushback, he was cynically seeking to protect himself. He changed his tune.
Well, it's a matter for the party and the party's management as to whether this goes forward.
A vote to change the leadership rules would be viewed as a proxy vote on Mr McCormick's leadership. And after reading the room, it's clear he doesn't want to risk it. But one of his key backers continues to make the case publicly.
I think it's an idea well worth exploring.
Trudy McIntosh, Sky News, Canberra.
Well, Genevieve, let's have a listen to what Dennis Shanahan, read what Dennis has got in tomorrow's Australian. Of course, Shanahan, one of the preeminent analysis journalists in the country. It's absurd to suggest that the latest Morrison-McCormack ministry is the best available for the government. Not only is it short of talent and unbalanced, it threatens the stability of the Nationals and the coalition itself. The Prime Minister has accepted the ministerial recommendations from the Nationals leader and in so doing has endorsed a dangerous winner-takes-all and job for a vote atmosphere. Strong stuff from Shanahan.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. And what he's saying is that a lot of what's in that news article as well, that he has to be careful who he's putting in his cabinet, because if you're basing it on loyalty rather than talent, then it can come back to bite you, as we've seen so many times over and over again in Canberra and in Parliament. Loyalty can be a fickle thing, and you can be a leader one day and out the next. So you would hope that the Prime Minister has chosen his cabinet based on merit and what is best for the country, not on who is going to support him and support the Nationals in their party room as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and I think that, yeah, it does seem like a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. So what we were saying before about threatening to cross the floor so early on after a spill, but anything can happen in Canberra, I suppose.
David, you've been around politics a fair while now. I mean, Canavan's a big loss. I thought he was a very good performer.
He's a big loss, Gleeson, but a bit of a big statement to say, rewarding people without talent. Your viewers would have seen a lot of a guy by the name of Keith Pitt out of Bundy. He's a class act.
Very, very
He's
strong.
a great operator.
Very
and
strong operator.
He will be wonderful in Cabinet. As for Canavan, he is a big loss and a young man with a bright future. He made a decision, and you've got to respect his loyalty, his decency. He called it up front. He put it all on the line. If he hadn't done that, I imagine there'd still be a spot for him somewhere there. But you've got to give it to him. He is an honourable bloke with a very, very bright future.